I went to bed about 10:30. Was just dozing off when I felt a shock, similar to a train being pulled up in the station. I laid awake some time, probably about 10 minutes, and was then called by a superior steward who told me to get up right away because the ship had struck an iceberg and it was very serious. We got to get up to the boats. I laid awake some time after that. I thought he was pulling my leg, and I dozed off again. Somebody else came and shouted out in the doorway, "All hands to the boats." Then I thought it was time to get up. So I went up on deck from E deck to A deck. Stood about there on the deck, which is the boat deck, and things seemed to be dragging rather, and it was very cold. So I decided I'd like to get an overcoat to put on. I went down from A deck to E deck, back to my cabin, and got my overcoat, opened my suitcase, took some handkerchiefs out, which my wife always supplied me so that I had a good supply of, and one or two other things, my toothbrush and shaving gear. I thought wherever I was next morning I should require them, and came out, nobody about. Deck was deserted. The alleyway was deserted. I got through the doorway onto the main staircase. There I met Mr. Rothschild walking up the main staircase, and we joined company, and I walked up with him, and he started talking about the accident. He said he didn't think it was serious enough to trouble, and I said, I've got to get along. I said, I'm one of the members of the crew, and they'll want me for rowing. And so I went up. On the way up, I saw the purser with 5 of the staff for the purser's office with the safes open, and they had mail bags there. They were putting the jewels and jewel boxes into the mail bags, laughing and talking, chatting one to the other. I continued on my way up to the boat deck, and on the way up I heard a fiddle. Transpired afterwards it was a band, and I went along to the boat, number 13 boat. I saw that it was nearly full up. I started putting other passengers and people in, helping them over the boat, over the rail into the boat. There was one very fat lady there, and she was crying out. She didn't want to go into a boat. She says, I've never been in an open boat in my life. And she said, I don't want to go. And I said, you've got to go, so you better keep quiet. And it took about 4 men, and 2 men in the boat and about 2 on the deck to hoist her over the rail to get her into the boat. And eventually we got her in. And then I saw somebody else helping the people in. I recognized a man named Washington Dodge. He was a recorder in San Francisco. I'd met him on the Olympic on a previous occasion, and I persuaded him to come back on the Titanic. And of course, when we sailed from Southampton, I recognized him, and we had a chinwag and talked to one another, and he had a wife and a little boy, about 4 years old, about 5 of that. I said, where's your wife and little boy? He said, they've gone in another boat. And I said, come on. I said, you get in this boat. I said, we should want somebody to row, and there were no children or anybody, as a matter of fact. I could see the whole length of the ship because it was light. The lights were on the ship at that time, and there was nobody in sight. The people that didn't get into the boats didn't want to get into the boats until it was too late. boat was lowered, and very jumpy business. First you were tipping up this way, and then you were tipping up that way, and I thought if we get in the water all right, we should be very lucky. And eventually we did get in the water, and next problem was to get the boat loose from the ship so that we didn't go down with the ship. Portholes disappearing one after the other, and of course everybody in the boat was anxious to get away before the ship went down, because they thought that they said if we're alongside the ship, when she goes down we shall be sucked down with her and the boat will be upset.